Greetings and welcome. My name is Brian Waddy, and I'm here to show you how to set up and implement the master calendar. And the master calendar is the workhorse. It's the one that does the behind-the-scenes work for the curriculum calendar series of spreadsheets. What this allows you to do is one person will, say, track when a snow day is. They plug it in the calendar, and it knows to skip it. And instead of every teacher for every class making those same adjustments and calculations, one person does it once, and then this calendar feeds out its data to every person's curriculum map. So every person's curriculum map actually imports this on the calendar tab, it pulls it in, and it's then implemented, and all the formulas then take place on their own. So if you want to implement this for the first time, whether you're doing it for an entire school or your department, or you might be the only one that's using the curriculum calendars, you would need one of this document, and then you would have multiple versions of the curriculum map that are pulling from that document. So you'd have one curriculum map for each one of your classes or department meetings, whatever you're using it to schedule. So the first thing you're going to do is open this up. You'll have a link that you got from me somehow, and you don't own that, so you're going to have to go to File and Make a Copy, and you're going to make your own copy so that way you can edit it and you can be the master of your own calendar, and label it, something after your school name or something to that effect. Throw it in whatever drive is appropriate. So I've got a BUHS drive here, and I'm going to hit OK. And so now it's refreshing. Now I own this version of the master calendar, and before I forget, because this is often one of the things I forget, I need to make sure that this master calendar is appropriately shared. So I go to File, Share, and I want a shareable link where everyone who has access to this can view it, not edit it, but view it, so that their individual curriculum map sheets are able to access this information. If you do have someone that's going to be kind of a co-admin with you, you could add their email address here and give them editing privileges so that they could track the same and plug in the, make tweaks as need be as well. So we're going to set that up and hit OK. And now that you have this set up, I just want to give you an idea of what we have going. So first we have the calendar tab of the current year. This year tag or label is significant, so the way we label this calendar is important. So if this is an older video, you could change the calendar to 17, 18, or whatever year you happen to be living in. Hello, future. And then you're going to start editing some of these values. So for instance, right now the first day of school is on September 6th, but I'm teaching at a school where the first day is on actually, I believe it's August 30th. And so when I do this, the formulas update and the calendar days, did I have to hit enter? The calendar days will end up refreshing automatically. No, it doesn't look like it's doing that. It's thinking, it's wanting to, it's calculating, but apparently my school data is a little bit slow. Let me hit, if I hit refresh, there it goes. So it updates these automatically as you enter in these values. So you can change the date of, first semester's day, when the end of first semester is, when the start of second semester is, and when the last day of school is scheduled. So as you do those, this will automatically update these dates right here, which is kind of the possible days for the school to pull from. And then here we'll have the holidays list. So your school holidays, your days off might vary a little bit. So you go through and plug in all of your holidays. So if you have a different teacher workshop day, whatever, you can change those values. Make sure it's super easy to do this, because you're usually doing this in the summer or early fall, that when you're setting up for the spring semester or whatever, that you're entering the dates for the next year and not in the past. So you plug these in. The reason you don't have to have that entered in, it's not going to affect the formula in any way. That's just for human interaction, so you can be like, oh yeah, that's why we have that day off. Or if you, for some reason, were ever to reference this to figure out what holiday is this school year. So you're going to enter in your holidays, and you'll notice that 9/5 is not on the calendar. Whereas if I deleted this cell and hit enter, the calendar would refresh in theory. I'm just going to start hitting the refresh key here. And you'll notice that 9/5 is now part of the school year. So, so it is significant that we have these plugged in. I believe this is set up that even if I type /16 instead of 2016, right now it'll automatically adjust for that. So that's the first thing you'll do. So you'll program it to skip the holidays, right? It's already skipping weekends by default. So hopefully your school doesn't meet on weekends. And now it's going to skip the holidays accordingly. The next thing you want to do is to adjust your schedules. So currently everything is Schedule A. Schedule A here. So if you want to adjust schedules, you go to the Schedules tab. And this window, let's see, let me even increase this font here so you guys can see it. Yeah, let me edit that. Bam, there we go. So this window has all of the time information for your school. Let's make all of these a little bit wider. Yeah, you can stop showing that. There we go. So what information you have to plug in? So for Schedule A, so this is kind of your regularly meeting schedule. You can change the names of these, by the way. That should be fine, although then you'll have to change it on the calendar tab over here accordingly. So here's the schedule that individual day is pulling from. So for Schedule A, and then whatever you have blocks or periods or things like that, I even have after-school meetings programmed in here. You're going to type some unique name for that block or period, and then you'll type in the start time and the end time. This little total thing's not as important, but it is just a formula that's relating those two things and subtracting them. That could be helpful to you while you're setting this up. And you then you just plug this in, and if you have multiple types of schedules, so for instance here's an early release schedule, I would want to make sure that I copy exactly the same values from this. So I'd hit Control-C and I'd paste that down here. Or let's say, so my default is I've got the regular schedule, the early release, and the 2-hour delay schedule. But let's say I'm making a new schedule right here, just to show you how to do that. So let's say you have an assembly schedule. So I would change the name here and paste this down. Obviously I want to have all the same classes in here. If you want to have, if no class is meeting for one of those periods because the schedule is different, you can just type no or something like that, or just a non-time. It'll show up an error on the teacher's version when that day and schedule occur, but that's okay. You know, hopefully they'll already be aware if it's a unique schedule and when their class is meeting. So then you could go through and actually change kind of the list for all of these, change the start and end times. One of the unique things here is, this actually took me a while to figure out this solution. So block 3 at my school has 3 different starting times depending on which lunch the class has. So it's really easy for, you know, block 3 lunch 1. Whoa! You know, and block 3 lunch 3, which are the beginning and end of the period accordingly. However, lunch 2 is smack dab in the middle of the period. So if you have a situation like that, what you have to do is enter in when the end of the first half of the class is and when the start of the second half of the class is. So that's when lunch starts and lunch ends. And then you'll also have to enter a time in minutes that lunch occurs. Okay, so for instance, this one's 25 minutes. Theoretically, I could have a formula that does that, but as far as formatting goes, this does have to be entered into as a whole number of minutes for this to work properly. So don't put a 0 colon in front of it. That's not the way I program the formulas. So you program your calendars. You have everything set up. You can add little notes like I've got, yeah, on my school they rotate the periods a little bit for early release days, but that's fine. And then if you created a new schedule, its name will show up here. So for instance, if I had a new schedule called, I don't know, Field Day or something like that, once I add a name to this column, this formula actually will create a schedule name that is your name. So it will automatically work in that sense, and then it disappears. So what that does is that allows these individual days to carry a schedule. That the date obviously should be skipping the holidays and the weekends, but each day might have a different schedule at your school. The majority of them are probably your regularly scheduled programming. So if you have a special day that's not your regular Schedule A, that I'm calling that, so for instance, November 9th is a half day. So I can select that and notice, hey, there's even my assembly schedule if I want. So what you do here in these two columns, E and F, is you could enter a day. So for instance, for 2017, I don't even know if that's within the, yeah, it's in there maybe. That might even be a weekend or something. That's my birthday. Happy birthday to me in the future. You could then say, have a special schedule where maybe there's an assembly where they're going to do something special for me on my birthday. That's so kind of them. And if that's actually a day, 4/16, is it? It might not be. Oh, okay. They already gave me the day off for my birthday. It's a school holiday apparently. But let's throw in a date here that is here. So 9/9/2016. Notice I changed that, and the schedule automatically changed there. And so you can do that and change the value as you want. If you got to get rid of that, you just delete them. If you want to get rid of these, you just delete those, and that should be fine. So that allows for the special schedule. So usually around April of any year, the school releases its official calendar for the following year, and so you could theoretically sit down and plug all of this general information in, and you'd be all set. So let's see, what else did I need on schedules? Oh yeah. These cells are editable. These are significant. So since I have calendar 16/17, I need to have 16/17 listed here under the schedules tab. If you have another calendar of 17/18, that you would need that in there as well. So any calendar tabs that you have for any given year, you need to have those years represented. And where that shows up, just so you're aware, is in the curriculum map template. When I go to select this in the setup and I select the year, these two pull-down menus are based on these pieces of information right here. So since I don't have a 17/18 tab, theoretically I could delete this and refresh that, and then it takes usually about 10 seconds for the master calendar to feed the curriculum maps according to their sheet. So it's wow, man, I keep doing that. So it's still an option right there. Let's see, 17/18, 16/17, here we go. And theoretically under, what was it, schedules. So yeah, so it still currently has the old information. If I hit refresh though, will this show us the current info? We'll see. Actually, silly me. Wow. This curriculum map is currently pulling from this master calendar. We'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, this edits that that over there. So yeah, that's how that ends up working. So yeah, and then if you have additional standards tabs that I have down here, those are kind of just a in theory idea where you could have individual standards for particular courses. So here's the Common Core standards for mathematics, high school mathematics, all here. So that could be a common place that teachers' courses pull their data from. If you happen to have that set up, then you could kind of have math as one of those sub-standards tags for the tab. And then in any of these that I delete, the teachers won't be able to access them when they want to pull from these standards, like so. So that sets up the schedules. Now, chances are you might have courses that meet only certain days of the school year. So for instance, the typical case is you might have alternating A and B days, so some classes meet every other day for a whole year or every other day for a semester, something like that. And that's what I've done with this A and B rotation. And so these, by the way, these names are all editable by you, and then these are automatically imported over to these columns here. Yeah, it says that right there. These titles are automatically pulled from your changes in these cells. Bam, there we go. And I allow you to set up or program up to 10 special types of days that are subsets of the school year. So if your class meets on A and B days, then the A and B day column is just every day of the year. Every day from the calendar. So it's a one-to-one match. If your class meets only on A days, I had to program in some logic where it takes a look at this, the A and B rotation. So this is kind of the class day rotation. And so then it says if it's an A day, then make it this. If it's a B day, or if it's not an A day, then give it blank. So yeah, so I program a little logic into these. Depending on your familiarity, you can set that up. Or if you don't know how to code Excel, that's fine. You can manually enter these, but understand whenever you add a snow day, it might offset some of those, and you'll have to I might make a video to show you some tricks to avoid that error in the future. So yeah, so I've got A and B days, and then A and B days together. So those ones are there special. I've got faculty and department meetings pre-programmed so the faculty meetings, this follows in interesting logic. It determines whether or not it's I think faculty meetings are the first Tuesday of the month. Yeah. So I actually have this over here as a tag or reference that you can kind of program your formulas regarding. So if you have courses or meetings that only happen on certain Wednesdays of the month, you could make a little logic formula. You can feel free to examine my formulas, and you might be able to figure out how to code your own. Department meetings are every other Tuesday besides faculty meetings, so I've got a different code for that. And I copy this formula down, and it duplicates only the school days that happen to meet those criteria. PLC and leadership teams are on Thursdays. Here's a Friday. This is what a Friday only class might look like. So if weekday of the school day is equal to 6, so is it a Friday, then return that day, otherwise return blank. And then so this is all the Fridays, and then here's all the Mondays and Fridays. So these are customizable depending on your school. You might have courses that you'd want to track that information in a special way, and that would account for that. So that kind of sets up most everything for this calendar here. If you were to enter a snow day, say on September 28th, there's this crazy blizzard that comes through, and there's a snow day. I would enter snow days or any other days that get missed here, or your pipes froze or whatever, and when I hit refresh, the September 28th day is no longer in the school calendar. So snow days behave as holidays is the way it sets up. And once you make that change, that will feed out to every teacher's course automatically. Let's see, so I want to remove that. So let's see, I think I've got my school year all set. So this is my master calendar. You'll be able to access this and edit this as you need to. But now that I've got this all set, I need to set up a curriculum map template for my school. So you are going to go to File, open up my curriculum map template, and you'll go to File, Make a Copy, and you will make a master template for your school. So here's the BUHS curriculum map template. I'll even put it in my whatever drive you want, folder you can. I'll hit OK. And so let's see, so I'm going to bring these together. So these are the two ones that are for BUHS. This one's refreshing. And this one is the document that the teachers can edit. I've got other tutorial videos to show you how to do that. But you need to go to Setup, and you're going to have to link their curriculum map template to your master calendar. So the way you do that, you go to your master calendar, and you can either select the hyperlink from the address bar and hit Control-C or right-click Copy. Or this also works this way. If you go to your shareable link and Control-C or Copy Link here, you will then go to your curriculum map template, which you now own and can edit, and you will paste this link in here. So whichever version is fine, even though they're a little bit different. It's only pulling the reference tag for the sheet. And I hit enter, and now what that's going to do is refresh and pull from this new document. Now let's see, sometimes it yells at me, okay, it looks like it carried through. So it's got my correct starting date, it's got all of that figured out. Let's see, if I deleted the 17-18 school year, did I do that? Let's do that. just to show you, because I tried showing you earlier and you probably don't believe me. Let's see, 17, 18 shouldn't be there anymore. Aha, there it isn't. It isn't, yeah. So it did, in fact, refresh that. And what that means is now that the calendar tab, the standards tab, the schedules tab, all of these things are now pulling from your master calendar. Okay, so now you've got this set up for this master calendar. If there was any particular things or common themes that your school is implementing or you want across all your classes, you could kind of set up custom columns for them or things like that. But chances are everything's going to be all set. It's pulling from your days. And now what you will do is you will create a shareable link of this template. And this is the link that you could either email your faculty with, that you could post on a website for your school's curriculum calendar. So your teachers need to be able to access this viewing-wise and then be able to make copies of their own, and everyone will be pulling from the master calendar that you've created. And so that's how you would initiate, that's how you prime the pump for the curriculum calendar spreadsheets. So you set up your master calendar, you create a curriculum map template that pulls from that master calendar, and now any time this master calendar is edited, it will automatically feed out to this curriculum template and anyone who made a copy of it. If for some reason they ever wanted to change that, or you had to manually change the master calendar setup, you could just send them the shareable link. They don't have editing privileges, and they'd be able to copy and paste it here, and it will pull from the correct calendar. All right, so I think that explains the setup for the master calendar. So that's the it's a big tutorial for the setup, and I'll show you some other tips and tricks in future videos. So thank you for watching. Email me at curriculumcalendar@gmail.com if you have any questions. Have a great day.